all know what's going on with the Giants this year. Last year they did very well, probably overachieved, so to speak, right? So this year everyone came in with these very high expectations, albeit they might have been unrealistic. We're emotional Giants fans, and this is what it is, right? Thus far, it has not worked out for the New York Giants. They are 1-5, currently with a record of 1-5, and look inept on all three sides of the ball, special teams, offense, and defense, right? And normally we come out here and we spew a bunch of stats and we make conclusions and we give ideologies on what should be done, and we armchair Monday morning quarterback this shit to death, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not. Listen, man. I'm not gonna do that this week, man. I'm just gonna. This is gonna be like almost cathartic, therapeutic for all my fellow Giants fans, man. In your opinion, let me ask you this, man. 1-5. This is they face the Commanders this week. If any chance of salvaging the season, I don't think there is. But if there's any chance, they must get this win. It's imperative, correct?
Yes, sir. I agree. I concur.
What is your take thus far on how the Giants have been looking?
Well, they've just been off. They've just been terrible, like terrible. It's week to week. It's just been so hard to watch these Giants. Like we always reiterate on the show, we came in, live and direct. Giants this, Giants that. Yes, go all day, every day. But then it's just been the total opposite. And this game was a close game. Like it was a very good game. Like a lot of components that we've been I guess bashing them about, they stepped it up. Like their defense stepped up. Like they played great. I feel like the defense played great. They held the Bills scoreless, right? If I'm not mistaken, they were scoreless in the first half. You know what I mean? No touchdown.
And held them to 14 points overall, which is good for that offense. This is,
what I mean?
High-powered offense.
Yeah, so I love that aspect. Maybe we could gain some traction then. Maybe that could help us salvage the season. I'm not sure when is Daniel Jones coming back, but I can't lie, Tyrod Taylor didn't look that bad. He didn't look that bad for someone coming out of backup QB. Hasn't started like the last 2 seasons or something, or almost a full season. He played pretty great. Didn't get no touchdowns, but didn't throw no intos either. You know what I mean? Got the Giants to score a position throughout the game. Embrace the young wide receiver movement. He was showing wide receiver love that we were talking about. They're not throwing to these guys, and guys like Slayton, Robinson, and Hyatt, they were getting love. Saquon's first game back. We big on Saquon.
Yes, sir.
He came back and he murdered. He had 93 yards on 24 carries. You know what I mean? So maybe they could gain some confidence, some kind of attraction heading into this game, into the Commanders. And it's like you said last week, maybe, or 2 weeks ago rather, maybe they could finish the season respectably. You know what I mean? Finish the season strong, respectably, not have that, like that awful season that people think we're gonna have. That I don't want to go out with just a win or two. Maybe shoot for 6, 7, 8 wins. You never know.
Yeah, all valid points. I believe I looked up a stat today. It said the last team to make the playoffs who started 1-5 was the Kansas City Chiefs with Alex Smith in 2015. Right?
Wow.
So that's where we're going on 2024. 8 years, something like that, right? So it's obviously the odds are stacked against the Giants making the playoffs, right? So,
indeed,
here's the conundrum I face as a Giants fan. Do I want us to make the season respectable, or do I want to crash for greedy Caleb? Greedy as Caleb Williams, right? And we're gonna get into that into a minute. They always say that this quarterback is a once in a generation talent, right? We've heard that. We hear that every year.
Every fucking year.
Right? The number 1, 2 guy. But I don't know, man. I said last week I've been the biggest Daniel Jones proponent out of everyone. You know what I'm saying? Ask anybody. I've been rocking with him forever. Bought his jersey. I defend him. I was jumping out the window saying he's a top 10 quarterback. And he very well might be, although it doesn't look like it right now. And there's a lot of factors that are adding up to his difficulties this year. But I got to tell you, man, watching Tyrod Taylor in the offense the second half of that game 2 weeks ago and starting this game, the offense looks different, man. I know you got the offensive line is in shambles. I get it. Big up to Pugh, former Giant, came back, basically off the couch offensive
Yes.
lineman, man.
Yes.
And then come in to play left tackle. It's a very hard ask. It's very hard to ask somebody, one, to go play left tackle when he's out of left tackle, and then two, to do it after you've been off the couch. Even in how they in the beginning of the games they have, this is such and such from Michigan State. This is such and such from this guy. They line everyone. They all show the pictures. His shit said, this is Pugh from off the couch.
Off the couch.
That was crazy.
I love when they do that. And now that you talk about Pugh coming back, that's a big move for us, because we lost another offensive lineman. Our guard, Lemieux, he's out with a bicep injury for the rest of the season. So it's like, damn, it's like we gained something, and then it's like we gained something and then we lose something. It's like, damn. But Pugh was a big pickup. He's one of my favorite Giants. Like, offensive lineman. Like, if you pay attention to the offensive lineman we had throughout the years, he's been good. I felt like that was a good pickup.
That was a great pickup, and shots to him, man. But we also lost Izzudu. But here, check this out. What my original point was, the offensive line is most definitely shambles, right? But when Tyrod is in there, the ball moves different, man. Do I think he's better than Daniel Jones? No. Okay, but that when that pocket collapses, man, he adjusts accordingly, even with that offensive line, in shambles. And one thing that stood out to me is that they took a lot of shots downfield last week. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now also, is it coincidence that Tyrod just seems more poised, more experienced in the pocket? He seems
more seasoned.
More seasoned, doesn't seem rattled. He goes through his progressions. I feel a little bit better than Daniel Jones at this point. Daniel Jones seems to panic a little bit. So, you know what I mean? What I've been noticing. Like I said, he took a lot of good shots down the field. But the one thing, another thing I was thinking about with the Giants is that this is not going to be a quarterback controversy, obviously. No. You know what I'm saying? This is Daniel Jones. We're paying him the money. But should we rock with Tyrod, man? What do you think, man? Let's say Tyrod comes out, wins this game against the Commanders this week, goes, let's say, 250, no interceptions, 30 yards rushing, 2 TDs, and wins the game. Do we keep him in there? What do you think?
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? He barely won this game. The defense held it. Like you said, they held the Bills to 14. The field goal, they were kicking field goals, but he almost won that game last night. I mean, not last night.
Last week.
He almost won that game this past Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to him. I always liked him. He always been a good seasoned vet journeyman kind of quarterback. He played good with the Bills. He played good with this team, that team. It's like you said, he would look very poised, look like he knew what he was doing out there with that offense, and this guy was just on the bench the past couple of weeks. Not to take nothing away from Danny, but Danny, you can see that he crumbles when he sees all those guys coming, rushing at him. The sack of this, Tyrod got sacked, 3 times out of 15 tries? He knows how to move.
That's still no good, but it's better than what Danny's been doing. And no fault to Danny's.
No fault to Danny because, it's like you said, our line is in shambles. But one thing I noticed too that the Giants need to work on, like the Giants are what they have 0 offensive touchdowns in the last 12 quarters,
dating back to the San Francisco game.
You know what I mean?
That's the last time they had a touchdown, which is insane.
Yeah, that is like ridiculous, and it's like, what's going on? Because I really can't pinpoint just what's wrong with the Giants. You could mention coaching, you could mention quarterback, offensive line, but I don't know if it's something bigger than that. Maybe Dable lost the locker room or something.
I think you hit it on the head. I think coaching has something to do with it. I want to elaborate on that for a minute, but I just want to skate back to Tyrod Taylor just for one more second. In all fairness to Daniel Jones, right? Saquon Barkley came back last week. Saquon Barkley makes you change how you run your defense, how you scheme your defense against somebody, right? So that might have opened up things for Tyrod Taylor that Daniel Jones didn't have before too. Because when you got Saquon, you got to put extra safety up in the box.
Oh yeah,
you change. That mitigate some of these big runs he could potentially break off. He's always a threat, whether he does it or not. I believe he had 93 yards. He had a couple of decent runs. But he's always a threat. So that changes up how they scheme their defense against you, and that changes up your offensive looks. You know what I'm saying? Because he's always a threat, right? You saw
Mm-hmm.
Saquon last year. And Daniel Jones together, beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That freed up a lot of shit for Daniel Jones and vice versa. Back to the coaching. Disappointed in the coaching, man. Listen, when you're the coach and you win, right? The quarterback and the coach gets all the credit.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to take the hits when you're doing bad, man.
Yes,
Brian Dable last year, he was out here on an award tour, like Tribe Called Quest said, Coach of the Year, right? Taking his bows every chance he could get, and deservingly so. He had a great season, did a great job coaching. First year came in, coming off the back of Joe Judge, who everybody hated, Sherman. You know the list of fucking clowns that the Giants had, right?
Yeah.
What I loved about Brian Dable is he ingratiated himself. Joe Judge is very like stringent and strict and nasty with the media. Yeah, too militant and just say smart remarks to the media. Trying to emulate Bill Belichick up there in New England. You can't emulate Bill Belichick with no rings in your fingers, homie. Calm down. So what I noticed was Dable comes in, right, off of a Belichick recommendation. As a matter of fact, he comes in. What I noticed about him last year, and you probably noticed this too, he immediately ingratiated himself with the media.
Yes.
He learned all their names, answered all the questions. He said, damn, I'm not going to be like Joe Judge. They ran Joe Judge out of town, regardless of how bad he was. We were like, we're not dealing with your bullshit. You guys suck, and we're going to deal with your bullshit. On top of that, get the fuck out of here. This is New York, homie. You must got a twister. You know what I mean? The media will kill you out here. If you know what I mean? They will run you the fuck up out of town quick.
Yep. Yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
But what I've noticed as of late is I've been watching some of these post-game press conferences, and when he speaks to the media during the week, I'm talking about Brian Dable. Lately, he's very short-answered, says a lot of little slick shit. He's very like almost grouchy, almost Belichickian. You know what I'm saying? Listen, homie, you ain't you ain't did what Belichick did. You came in, you had a great season last year, but you ain't won shit here.
Yep.
My advice to you is calm down. You're having a really bad season. There's a lot of mistakes the Giants are making, and I mean mistakes that you almost have to blame on the coaching, a lack of discipline, crazy penalties, not being able to tackle. Yes, the defense did better last week, but this year they've been terrible at tackling, right?
Look at the goal line baffle they had, to end the first half.
Situational football. Again, ready to say that. Situational footall. Some want to blame that maybe on Tyrod. You got to split the difference between them. You know what I'm saying? A great point. Absolutely. That was really bad coaching. Was that Kafka, Dable, whoever? Doesn't matter. Like I said, penalties. Not protecting the football. These are all coaching things, right? Yes. Do we have playmakers? No, we do not. We didn't have playmakers last year. Everyone thought Waller, Paris Campbell, what's the rookie? Jalen Hyatt. Everyone thought, these guys are gonna come in and just make a big. Yeah, they're playmakers, but they're not like bona fide playmakers. Waller is. You know what I'm saying? But with the lack of the playmakers, man, that we have, other than Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones to some degree when he runs, your coaching has to be tight. You can't make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? You can't mismanage the clock. You see the Jets did that the week before this. You know what I'm saying? That issue like that. So I agree with you. Like, I think Dable, we said this last week, you're on the clock, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You get the love when shit's going great. You gotta take the hits when shit's not working. Your thoughts on that, brother?
I agree 100%. It's like I've been saying since the beginning of the show. If you can't stand the heat, get the fuck out the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like New York has always been known as a melting pot for different cultures, different sounds, different type of living, different type of sports fan. We're just a different type of sports fan. We love you when you give us, you in good graces with us as the fans. If you're doing everything that's good. But you also, you have to have a backbone here too. It's like you said, you have to take the good with the bad with the good. So, it's like I was saying earlier, I don't know, maybe he's losing the locker room a little bit, or maybe that coaching staff that he has is just not working well for him, because Kafka came from a different system, right? He came from KC and he came from the Bills, right? Maybe that's not working for him. Maybe he needs to find somebody that's more fitting for his system. You know what I mean? So it's a whole plethora of things. But I do say that he gotta calm down and return to that Brian Dable he was last year. You know what I mean? Find that love for football, embrace your team again, get that team back together. You know what I mean? And display that on the field. Because last year the Giants, nobody gave, like I can't say nobody. I'm going to speak for myself. I really didn't give the Giants a shot last year, and look what he did with that Giants team. Came in, boom, won that first game, boom, confidence building.
Yeah.
He needs that type of win this season, maybe this game or the game after that. Like he needs that crucial win to get this team back, to be like, you know what? Even if we don't make the playoffs, we're gonna make this a fucking reasonable team that people will be like, you know what, next year they're gonna come crazy.
Yeah, I know he feels that pressure too. Do you remember last year? After one of the wins, he's dancing in the locker room to some drill music, and it's like, oh, this guy's a player's coach, and even though he berated Daniel Jones, there was a play. I forgot what it might have been an interception. I forget what the turnover was, but he's just ripping into Daniel Jones when he comes to the sideline last year, right? But it played different last year. They were winning. He was dancing in the locker room to hip hop music. That's a lot for a fat white dude to be in there dancing with a bunch with 54 minority dudes who love drill and trap music. Young. That shows, like
you trying to be relatable.
Relatable. Now this year he's just barking on dudes, barked on Tyrod Taylor this week, barked on the whole incident with the tablet with Daniel Jones. It's looking like you're crumbling. That pressure can start. The walls start to close in. Listen, if you're listening, man, my brother, get back to basics. Just be you. Don't try to be Bill Belichick. Don't you see it didn't work out for Joe Judge. You see it didn't work out for Shermer. All them other clowns that was here. Macadoofus and all that. You know what I'm saying? But listen, woosah. Listen, but I'm saying, look, another thing. We're spending a lot of time on the Giants, man. But listen, real quick before we transition, they have a big game coming up against the Commanders, as we mentioned earlier in the show, right? A game I think they can win. Are the Commanders decent? Yeah, the Commanders are decent. I like Eric Bieniemy. I've always been a proponent of him. Sam Howell is better than I thought, right? But he's also, their line is also in shambles too. I believe he was sacked like 34 times or some crazy shit like that this year.
Yep. They 3-3 though.
They 3-3, but they're beatable to me. They're beatable. We can go in there, and beat them. Even though our offensive line is crazy, they got a decent couple of guys rushing off the edge, so we got to take care of that. But this is a must-win game Sunday. We're out of it if we don't. But if we do lose, I say tank. I'm on the thought process of tank for Caleb. What do you think about that?
I mean, let's start with the Commanders. Like, we gotta go. We play them. They're coming here. So they come in here. The only thing is, I think it's a winnable game for the Giants. You know what I mean? If they catch that same groove that they caught the last game against the Bills, but the Commanders, you got to watch out because they scored 20 or more points every game except for one game. When they scored 3 against the Bills. So they got an offense that can score. You know what I mean? They got a couple guys in that defensive front that could get out there and get
out there. Get after the QB. Yep,
you know what I mean? So we just gotta play our part and make sure we got all the X's and O's right and go out there and play some winning football. Not just football, not Pop Warner football. Winning football. Like, you know what I mean?
Disciplined on all sides of the ball. Correct.
Yes. This is a divisional game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We need this. We need this game for not just for morale, just for moving forward to turn this shit around. Because, like I said, we probably ain't gonna make playoffs, but at least end the season respectively. I'm gonna jump on what you said last year. I feel like we should just end the season respectively. I'm big on Caleb, but I'm really not, because I haven't seen too much with him. Sometimes with these guys, he's a generational talent, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. You give him all the accolades off for 1 year, but sometimes it's scary when you get some of these guys off of that 1 year. You know what I mean? You're just basing him on 1 year of his solid work. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? He could wind up like a Ryan Leaf, a Tim Couch, or Jamarcus Russell. You never know with these guys. You know what I mean? Not everybody's gonna come out and be a Mahomes, be a Lamar Jackson, be a Josh Allen. It's rare you get that. So that's the only thing I'm scared about, like tanking for a guy like Caleb. And right now, we were talking about it before. Look what Caleb is even asking for now. Like, you think teams are gonna
You fucked me up with that. I wasn't even aware of that. Tell me what we're talking about. What have you heard that Caleb asking? I mean, Caleb Williams is asking if he comes out and as the number 1 pick in the draft.
Well, I can't take credit for this. Shout out to Q while he on vacation. My man's still working. He sent us this in the thread.
Bring me some liquor, nigga. Go ahead.
Word out. So in reports, he's saying that whatever team drafts him, he wants to have partial ownership. Like, coming into the league, he wants to have partial ownership of whatever team that drafts him. So exactly, like, what are you asking for? Like, don't get me wrong, I fucks with the ambition. I love that. I love the business.
I do too. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's different. But Come on, kid, be realistic. You know what I mean? You're not a Don Dada like that. You know what I mean?
What have you done to do that? Okay, so if he gets 1%, what are we giving Patrick Mahomes?
Exactly.
What are we giving Joe Burrow? He just got his deal. But I'm saying, what are we, like, come on, man. That's ridiculous, man.
Exactly. That's just
1%?
too far-fetched.
That's insane, bro. Even 1% of the millions and billions of NFL teammates in perpetuity for a lifetime is ridiculous. What if he comes in as a bust? I don't give a fuck if he's Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't get a percentage of the Patriots.
Exactly. Even after winning so many Super Bowls.
I like the ambition. I like the entrepreneurial and mindset of the whole shit. And I can't knock the hustle, like my man Jay said. You know what I'm saying?
Word up.
But it's just not realistic, man. Let's keep it 100. And you know what I mean? And you haven't done nothing yet. So shout out to Caleb Williams. Word. I wouldn't mind getting him, but I don't know if we get him and that off, are we gonna put him behind an offensive line that's just terrible?
That's gonna run him down.
I do have faith in Joe Shane, and I know we just talked a little crazy about Dable, but I do have faith in Dable as well. I do think they will turn it around, but I don't know how wise it is and how valuable it would be just to be respectable. Like, okay, so let's say we somehow get to 500. We ain't making the playoffs. You need at least, I think in this division you need at least like 9 wins at the least, more likely 10. I don't think we're gonna see 10. You know what I'm saying? So
no, hell no.
I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we get a draft pick. Maybe, obviously we take a QB, but maybe we take a really good offensive lineman. I don't know. I'm not super college football guy. That's a question for somebody who's really into the college football scene. I've never been, but I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. But we'll see, man. Big win this weekend.
Yeah, we need this. We need to kick some Commander ass. You know what I mean? I still don't fuck with that name though.
That name is trash. And I was down in VA. Shout out to all my VA niggas who fuck with the Redskins. Let's keep it word. My man Leon, all my man Buck, all my dudes on there. My man Nick.
Yeah. Word. I'll show some love to the Redskins or Commander fans, whatever y'all want to call them. I've always been a good, respectable fan base. I never really beefed with a Washington Redskin Commanders fan. I can't say, I'm beefing with not like
they on their shit down there though, but they more worried about the Cowboys down there. Cowboys Redskins is the real rivalry.
That's the real rivalry. So it's like fucking the 70s, 80s, and 90s and shit, especially the 90s because they both won Super Bowls during that era. As a matter of fact, the NFC East ran the beginning of the 90s in Super Bowls. 100%. Three straight Super Bowls, NFC champions, East champions. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Giants, Redskins, Dallas. Boom.
Giants, Redskins, Dallas. But last thing on the Giants, we do have to score, have to be able to punch that ball in the red zone. You know what I'm saying? We're putting together drives, and that's another thing why I think the defense performed well last week, because we were putting together more lengthy drives, gave them a little bit of rest. You know what I'm saying? But gotta punch that ball in the end zone. Has to happen. Can't win off field goals. You got to be able to score, right?
Word. I drink to that. I'll take a shot to that.
Take a shot for that. Yeah, absolutely.